Bella, how many times am I going to wake you? We are waiting for breakfast.
My Aunt Martha stood over my bed, an angry scowl on her face. Can't you make breakfast yourselves? Martha clutched the pearls on her neck as if I'd insulted her.
Why would we do such a thing?
I hated my Aunt Martha. My mom died when I was 4 years old and my dad left soon after. I often dreamed of my mother and her beautiful smile. I looked just like her. I wanted to be a beauty queen like she was. Growing up, I used to wait by the window, waiting for Mom to come back and take me far away. But Martha made sure I knew that she was never coming back. Neither was my dad. Martha made me clean and pick after her and her daughter Annabelle. Whenever I complained, she told me I should be grateful that she took me in when nobody else wanted me. When I was younger, she'd threatened to put me in a foster home. At the time, I had no idea where that was, but it sounded terrible, so I did everything she asked. Hi, my name is Bella. It means beautiful. All my life, my Aunt Martha told me that I didn't deserve that name. Watch my story and find out how an encounter with a stranger proved her wrong. After I graduated high school, Martha told me she couldn't afford to pay for college. Instead, she had me waiting tables at a restaurant she owned.
Bella, order for table 8 is ready.
Sandra, one of the chefs, yelled. I hurriedly loaded a tray with everything the customer had ordered. I placed the tray at the table and asked the customer if he needed anything else. He didn't answer me. He just stared at my face. Your breakfast is on the tray and not on my face, creep. I thought to myself as I walked off. I'd never seen him at the restaurant before. I hoped he would never come back. There was something about the way he looked at me. It made me uncomfortable. The rest of my day was uneventful, but my mind kept wandering back to the man at table 8. He looked like he wanted to say something to me. Whatever it was, guess I'd never know. I didn't have a car, so I always walked home. I got my earphones and put on some music. I enjoyed the 1 hour it took to walk home. I'd pretend to be a model walking the runway in Paris just like my mom. I'd imagine cameras flashing in my face as the crowd cheered.
Excuse me, Bella?
Was someone calling my name? I took out my earphones and turned around. The man from that morning was standing there. I dropped my phone and started to run back into the restaurant. Stay away from me!
Bella, oh my god, are you alright?
Sandra held my shoulders as I tried to catch my breath. Just then, table 8 walked in carrying my phone and my earphones. I told you to stay away from me!
I'm sorry for scaring you. It wasn't my intention. Can we talk, please? I promise I'm not a creep or anything.
Hey, I saw you this morning.
Yes, you did. My name is Romano. I'd like to talk to Bella privately if that's all right with her.
Talk about what?
Go on, Bella. I'll be right behind the counter if you need me. I've got 911 on speed dial, mister, so no funny business.
Romano smiled as he led me to a table nearby.
Did you already eat? You can have something while we talk.
I'm not hungry. Now talk. What do you want? Why are you stalking me? Romano laughed.
I'd hardly call it that. I'm a photographer with a modeling agency, and I'd like to offer you a job.
What kind of job? I have no experience in photography. He looked sad for a moment, then smiled.
You have no idea, do you? How beautiful you are. The last time I saw a face like yours was, let's just say, I'd be honored to photograph you.
Me? I'm not a model. I just wait tables here.
You could be. I've been looking for you. I mean, someone like you. You'd be perfect for my agency.
I don't even know you. Again, Romano looked sad.
I understand that. How about I leave you my card? It has my number and address on it. Call me if you change your mind. I hope you do.
He stood up and waved at Sandra, then left. I stared at the card for a long time. Who would want me to model for them? I was not beautiful. When I got home, I told Aunt Martha about Romano. I even showed her his card. She laughed and called me stupid.
He's just trying to get you into bed with him. If he was looking for models, he'd ask Annabelle, not you.
You'd think that with all the hurtful things my aunt said to me, I'd be used to it, but her words still hurt so much. I left the table and ran to my bedroom. A few minutes later, she knocked on the door and I thought she had realized how hurtful her words were and was there to apologize. I opened the door, ready to forgive her.
We are done eating. The table won't clear itself.
I decided to call Romano the next day. I couldn't live like this anymore. Romano sounded so happy to hear from me so soon. I took a cab and found him waiting for me at the agency.
Bella, I'm so happy you're here. Come.
I followed him to his office where huge posters of models hung on the walls. There was no way I could look like them. We spoke over a cup of coffee. He answered all my questions, and the more we spoke, the more relaxed I felt. By the end of our meeting, I was sold. I left Romano's office so happy I was practically bouncing. I went straight to the restaurant and shared the good news with Sandra.
Congratulations, honey. I can't wait to see you on a magazine cover.
Sandra hugged me. We said our tearful goodbyes, and I promised to keep in touch even after I became famous. I'd been working with Romano and his team for close to a month. Living with Martha was unbearable, now more than before. I was waiting for my first paycheck so I could get my own apartment. One day we worked so late it was close to midnight when I got home. Romano dropped me off at the door. I found Martha so angry I thought I saw smoke coming out her ears.
Is he paying you to sleep with him? Don't think I haven't noticed your new fancy clothes and your makeup. Your mother would be disappointed if she saw the kind of girl you've become. I'm glad you're not my daughter. I'd be so ashamed.
My mother loved me. I wish she never died and left me with an evil woman like you. I was so angry.
You ungrateful child. After all I did for you.
She slapped my face. I ran out the door and kept running. I didn't care where I went as long as it was away from that monster. After walking around for an hour, I called Romano. I could barely get any words out in between my sobs.
Bella, slow down. Tell me what happened.
Romano picked me up a few minutes later. He found me sitting by the side of the road shivering. I had no jacket on, just the dress I'd been wearing during our shoot.
Belle, is this how your aunt treats you? For how long?
Belle. The way he said my name, it sounded so familiar. Bella.
What?
You called me Belle. He was quiet for some time.
It's what your mother used to call you.
Yeah, I miss her. Wait, how do you know that? I grabbed the car door handle ready to bolt. Who was this man?
Please, let's go somewhere and talk. It's freezing out here.
I'm not going anywhere with you until you tell me who you really are.
I knew your mother.
Who are you?
I'm so sorry. This is not how I wanted you to find out.
Find out what? Can you tell me what's going on?
My name is Richard, not Romano. I'm your father.
No, you are not. My father left me a long time ago. He has another family now.
Is that what Martha told you?
I couldn't sit still. I thought my heart would beat a hole in my chest. I looked up at the man claiming to be my father, and I didn't know what to believe or what to feel. I was angry, but somehow relieved. I was angry at him for leaving me, but relieved he was back. My head was going to explode.
Please, say something.
Why did you come back?
I've been gathering the courage to talk to you for months. I called Martha, but she told me that you wanted nothing to do with me. She refused to tell me where you were, so I came to the house one day. She was furious. She said that you were away at college and I was not to bother you.
I didn't know.
I left my card with her and I told her to give it to you. A few days later, a girl showed up at the agency and claimed to be you.
What? Who was it?
Martha's daughter, Annabelle.
Why would she do that?
She came to tell me to stay away, that she was happy with Martha and didn't want me back in her life.
As Richard spoke, I realized that my Aunt Martha was even worse than I thought. The devil had nothing on her.
When I told her that I knew she wasn't you, she confessed that it was all her mother's idea. She told me where to find you. I told her to tell Martha that their plan had worked.
Richard had waited a few days, then showed up at the restaurant. I was speechless. Why did you leave me? He held his hands together and looked at the floor.
The house you live in belonged to your grandfather. When he died, he left it to Martha and your mother. After your mom died, Martha kicked us out. I begged her to let you stay since I had nowhere to take you. I told her I'd come back for you.
But you didn't. Is that why she hates me so much? You left her to raise a child she didn't want? How could you do that to me?
I'm so sorry. I was grieving for your mother.
He told me that after Martha kicked him out, he tried to get back on his feet. He was homeless for months. He'd watch the house and sometimes he'd see me out playing. He thought I was happy, so he left town.
I had nothing to offer you, Belle.
When morning came, I went into the agency dressing room and fell asleep. Later that day, Richard and I went back to the mansion. As I packed my clothes, I could hear Richard and Martha exchange some very unkind words.
What do you plan to do now?
Sandra and I were unpacking in my new apartment. I didn't have much yet, but with what Richard was paying me, I knew I'd have loads of stuff soon. I was excited. It had been a week since the craziest night of my life. So much was revealed that night. Richard and I were still getting used to being father and daughter. I talked to Richard about going to college. He thinks it's a wonderful idea.
You're going to give up modeling so soon?
No, I'll do both. There was a knock on the door, and when I opened, Richard and a man I'd never seen before were standing there. The man was wearing a suit and carrying a briefcase.
Belle, hi. This is Warren, your grandfather's lawyer. May we come in?
The apartment was still unfurnished, so we stood in the kitchen and used the island as our table. Sandra excused herself and left.
Bye-bye.
What's this about?
Warren has something for you to see.
Warren handed me a stack of papers. I was confused at first, but as I kept reading, I realized what they were. It was my grandfather's will. I don't understand. It says that the mansion and the restaurant are mine?
Your grandfather changed his will a few hours before he died.
I stare at the papers in disbelief. Why was I never told this? I've been waiting tables at my own restaurant? The lawyer said that Martha paid him to hide the will. She still paid him every year. Over the next few days, the lawyer turned himself in to the police. Martha was arrested soon after. I also hired a lawyer. Annabelle apologized for the part she played in her mother's evil plans. She also learned that Grandpa had left her some money in his will. She asked what I planned to do with the restaurant. I told her I was planning to sell it. She wanted to buy it with the money Grandpa left her, and I agreed. I wanted nothing to do with the mansion. It reminded me of all the cruel things Martha did. I was going to sell it too, but Richard had a brilliant idea.
We could start our own modeling agency. I even have a name. What do you think about Belle Models?
It was perfect. Months later, Richard and I stood in front of my childhood home. Now, Belle Models.
It's so beautiful. Your mother would have been proud. I wish she was here.
Me too, but I guess that will do. I pointed to the mural on the front wall of the mansion. It was a painting of my mom holding me when I was a baby. My dad held my hand as we walked inside, ready to start our new life.
Hey, glad you're here. I've got something to tell you. I finally found out the answer to something that's been bugging me for the past 10 years. Let's just say someone came back into my life that I thought I'd lost forever. You won't believe what they told me. Before we get into the story, remember to subscribe, click the notification bell, and like this story. And you'll have good hair days for the next 10 years. Promise. When I was a kid, I was kind of shy. I didn't have a lot of friends, but I was very close to the few that I had, and my sister Beth, of course. My very best friend was called Jake. We were in the same class at school since first grade and spent summers at camp together every year. When we were 13, I started to see Jake in a different way, in a cute way. All of a sudden, he wasn't just my buddy Jake. He was Jake, the guy with the cute blue eyes, nice smile, and the best jokes in the world. No one made me laugh like Jake, and I made him laugh too. I started acting weird around Jake, nervous and awkward, talking too loud and laughing at all the wrong times. It was horrible. I never experienced it before, and I wanted to shake myself back to normality. Has this ever happened to you? Why couldn't I have a crush on some random guy? Why did it have to be my best friend? I didn't tell anyone about this crush and hoped it would just go away and things would go back to normal. Just when I was wondering if Jake had noticed my weirdo behavior, he asked me if I wanted to hang out on the weekend. Phew. I assumed we were going to watch movies at my place, bake cookies, and play with the dog as usual. I guessed he hadn't noticed anything odd after all. But no. Jake invited me to a party at his house that his older brother was throwing. It was a change of pace, that's for sure. His brother had always found us annoying, especially when he was trying to be cool around his friends. The thought of a real party with Jake immediately made me sick to my stomach with nerves. What should I wear? Would there be dancing? Would there be anyone else there my age? Would I even be allowed to go? When I asked my mom, she already knew. It turns out Jake's mom had called her to ask if it was okay. Mom kept giving me weird looks, like a sly smile, as if she knew something I didn't. When she asked me if going to the party with Jake was a date, my face became beet red and I ran into my room and slammed the door after, yelling an incoherent, "Ah!" The day of the party was a Friday, so I spent all day at school thinking about it. During PE, my friend Skylar caught up to me on the track and asked if I was going to the party and if I'd like to get ready and go together. Oh, so it wasn't just me who Jake had invited. I admit, I felt a little hurt. It turned out that Jake had invited most of our class. Skylar came over to my house after school and we had pizza. Then we listened to music in my room as we sorted through my wardrobe looking for the perfect party outfits. As Skylar was slicking pink gloss onto her lips, she casually asked if me and Jake were just friends. I didn't know what to say. The question came out of the blue. Yeah, we're just friends, totally. Why? I said, trying to sound as casual and cool as I could. What Skylar said next really shook me. She told me she was asking because she found Jake really cute and wanted to double check with me before she made a move. Made a move? What did that mean? Just when I thought I'd made a new good friend, I wondered if she had come over to my place pretending to want to be friends but really wanted to get close to Jake. Mom dropped us off at the party and told us 3 times that we could call at any point and that she'd be there to pick me up at 10 on the dot. And if I wasn't outside waiting, she'd come in to get me, embarrassing me in front of my friends. Mom always worried and overreacted. Me in my jeans and green tank top and Skylar in my navy velvet skater dress stepped into the crowded lounge full of Jake's brother's friends. They looked up at us, gave us an absent-minded hey, and carried on with their video games and ping pong. We heard familiar voices coming from the big room downstairs, so we headed there. Finding about 12 of our classmates sitting in a circle on the ground. Jake was there, his face looking down at his phone. My heart melted. He broke into the most beautiful smile when he looked up and saw us, jumping up to greet us. So glad you guys are here, he said, and I wished with all my might he was just referring to me. He invited us to come and join the group. They were playing Truth or Dare. Truth or Dare? My absolute worst nightmare. I was, and still am, pretty shy and private. I don't do pranks or practical jokes, and I never tell secrets, my own or other people's. Skylar just laughed and joined the group. I put a brave face on and sat next to Skylar in the spot she had cleared for me, directly opposite Jake. Finally, it was my turn. Kate from my class nominated me after she had her own truth where she admitted that, yes, she did pee her pants at school in 2nd grade. She locked eyes with me, and I braced myself for what was coming. Truth or dare? She asked. My mind raced. What was worse, telling a secret or doing something embarrassing? Surely a dare wouldn't be too bad. I might cringe for a moment, then it's all over. But truth? That could haunt me forever. Okay, dare? I said with a feeble smile. Kate paused, building horrible suspense. Your dare is to kiss? She stopped and looked around the circle. Oh no, I should have realized this would happen. I'm an idiot. She kept scanning the circle, then her eyes landed. Jake, I dare you to kiss Jake. My mouth went dry and my mind was foggy all of a sudden. I attempted to laugh. But he's my best friend. That would be weird, I uttered shakily. Rules are rules, said Kate defiantly. I looked at Jake. He was looking at me intensely, but I couldn't quite make out his expression. I kept staring, not knowing what to do. He gave me a little smile and shrugged. Better not hold up the game, he said, and started moving toward the middle of the circle. Skylar gave me a little push, nodding at me to go ahead. I moved toward the center of the circle, toward Jake. Everyone started making ooh noises, and I felt myself become tomato red. To my surprise, Jake put his hand on my chin and drew me to him. I closed my eyes, and we kissed. I kissed Jake. My mind blacked out, and the next thing I knew, I was looking into Jake's face as the room whooped. Scurrying back to my spot in the circle, I hastily nominated the next person, Vince, who chose truth. When the game was over, everyone slowly broke off, and some of us went upstairs to get more snacks. The party upstairs looked a little different from our basement party. The older guys were rowdily playing a game of cards with drinks I suspected weren't allowed. Me and Skylar were in the kitchen getting some water and refilling the chip bowl. When the kitchen emptied out and it was only us, Skylar turned to me and grabbed my shoulders, her face bright with excitement. "Wow, you did it! You kissed Jake," she said. Are you mad?" I asked, remembering what she had said earlier. "Mad? No, of course not. I'm happy for you. Don't worry about what I said. I just think he's cute. I don't actually have feelings like you do." I was about to protest, but she gave me a look that said, "Save it. I already know." So I stopped. As we were about to leave, I said, "Sky, it was great. And it was my first kiss." I blushed and looked at the ground, worried what Skylar may think. Most people my age were already kissing. Skylar hugged me and told me she was happy for me. I still remember that moment. It was the true start of our friendship. Skylar went to the bathroom, so I waited for her in the kitchen. I was eating a few chips when I heard someone come into the kitchen. I turned around and it was Toby, Jake's older brother. He seemed happy to see me. I know now it was because of what was in those card game cups. "Hey, little bro's best friend," he said, and hugged me. To my extreme surprise, he ruffled my hair, to my humiliation, and walked out. Weird. 10 o'clock rolled around pretty quickly, and I was outside waiting for Mom at 9:55. I wasn't going to risk her marching inside like I knew she would. As I lay down to sleep, I realized that I didn't get a chance to talk to Jake after the kiss. I made a promise to myself to make sure it wasn't weird on Monday, no matter how nervous I was to see him again. Monday came. I saw Jake down the hall as I got to school. Here goes. He saw me too. He saw me wave, but he turned and walked the opposite direction. Perhaps he was late for something. At recess, he walked into the cafeteria, saw me sitting at our usual table waiting for him, but walked right past and sat with some other guys from class. This carried on all day. No eye contact, no talking, no messages, nothing. When I got home from school, I ran straight to my room and cried. That stupid kiss. It ruined everything. I had to make it right. I texted him. "Hey, Friday night was weird, huh? Let's just forget about it. Stupid truth or dare, never again. Lunch tomorrow?" I waited and waited and waited. Nothing. No reply. The silent treatment went on for the next few weeks. I was miserable. I even pretended to be sick so Mom would let me stay home. She knew something was up. I could hear her and Beth talking in whispers about me, worried looks on their faces. I sent a few more texts and even asked Skylar to talk to him for me. He didn't reply to the texts and wouldn't talk to Skylar. She told me to forget him, telling me no real friend would do that. But Jake had been a real friend, the best, and he was gone. One morning, Mom came into my room and told me she had heard that Jake and his family were moving to another town. She asked if I knew and wanted to know what happened between us. I just shrugged and said we grew apart, turning away so she wouldn't see my tears. So that was that. Jake was gone. I eventually got over it and moved on, but there was always that little thought in my head that wondered why. 10 years have passed, and last week, I was at the mall shopping for a gift for my new baby niece. I was peering through a shop window when I felt a tap on my shoulder. I swung around to see a familiar face. Jake. We said some awkward hellos, giving the shorthand version of what we're up to at the moment. Jake asked if I wanted to go get coffee. I had nothing else to do, so I accepted. I'm braver now than I was then, so I asked outright, "What happened? Was the kiss that bad?" Jake stared at me confusedly. "What? No. It was what happened with my brother. Surely you know that." I laughed, thinking he was joking. I had no idea what he was talking about. You know, you told him you liked him and you only came to the party to be closer to him. My mind raced. Surely I didn't say that. No, I didn't. I was just a kid. Where did you get that? I asked. Then Jake said something crazy. He told me his brother told him that I cornered him in the kitchen, hugged him, and told him my feelings. A lie, a flat-out lie. Then I remembered the hug. There was a hug, but it was nothing. So you believed your brother? You didn't think to talk to me? I asked. He said he was too upset, too hurt, too disappointed. He told me he was hoping we would kiss that night and he'd had a crush on me. Then he saw me hugging Toby and he was shattered. What? My mouth was gaping and my mind went fuzzy. All that crying, sadness, anger. Why would your brother do that? I asked. Jake said that they'd been fighting and his brother was mad that his mom had made him invite Jake and his friends to the party. I assured Jake that none of it was true, and he said of course he believes me. It seems so stupid now. He apologized for the silent treatment and told me he wished he just asked me before freezing me out for good. I walked away that day with closure, but I also walked away with Jake's new phone number.